Have you ever stopped to think about the power of our words? Especially, with kids. It's kind of wild how one sentence, maybe said without much thought, can stick with them for years, planting these seeds of confidence. Or maybe doubt. Okay, let's unpack this.
And what's fascinating here is children, they don't just hear the words, do they? They really absorb them. It becomes part of how they see themselves. They carry it into school, friendships, even their careers way down the line.
Yeah.
And, that voice, it can become their inner voice when things get tough.
That's it, exactly, that inner voice. So today we're going to do a deep dive into that the huge influence parental words have. We're looking at excerpts from Parenting Power, words that shape your child's future. And our mission for you listening is to pull out those key insights, right? How intentional language can build a child up, not tear them down. And, how to make home feel like a really safe, encouraging space.
Yeah, and the source really highlights the difference, the contrast between language that kind of shuts a kid down. Like, the classic, "You're always so careless," versus something more like, "Hey, I know you can figure this out for next time."
Yeah.
It digs into how those negative labels, they just stick. Well, the positive stuff, that actually encourages growth.
Yeah, you're always so careless. That feels different than just pointing out a mistake.
Exactly. And the book, Parenting Power, it really drills down into this. It doesn't just stop at that simple example. It talks about how that first phrase, "You're always so careless," isn't just criticism. It's what the book calls an identity statement.
An identity statement. Okay, that sounds significant. So it's not just about the spill, it's about labeling them.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It implies it's a fixed thing about them. This is who you are. And according to the source, that kind of labeling, well, it can really sink in deep, almost like a self-fulfilling thing. The child starts believing, "Yep, I'm just careless."
Yeah.
Whereas, "I know you can do better next time," that focuses on the action, right?
Right.
And the potential for change. It's much more about fostering what Carol Dweck calls that growth mindset.
Right, the growth mindset. So it's shifting from "you are this" to "you did this and here's how we move forward." Does the book give specific ways to actually do that? Especially when you're frustrated, because that's when those labels tend to slip out, right?
It does, yeah. It introduces something called the language of inquiry, especially useful for mistakes.
Yeah.
So instead of reacting, maybe shouting, "What were you thinking?"
Yeah.
Which, let's be honest, just makes kids feel ashamed. The source suggests asking things like, "What do you think happened here?" Or maybe, "What's one thing we could learn from this?"
Ah, okay. So less accusation, more investigation.
Exactly. It turns it into a learning moment, not just a mess up that needs punishment. It shifts the whole dynamic from blame towards, problem solving together, builds resilience, helps them think for themselves.
That feels like a much healthier approach. It's not just changing words, it's changing the whole perspective.
Yeah.
And talking about perspective, the source also gets into praise, doesn't it? It's not just about saying good job all the time.
Oh, definitely not. The book makes a really strong case for what it calls process praise instead of person praise. So instead of, "Wow, you're so smart," which actually counterintuitively can create pressure and make kids afraid to fail.
Right, because what if they aren't smart next time?
Precisely. So the source says, praise the effort, praise the strategy they used or their persistence. Like, "I saw how you kept trying different ways to solve that problem even when it got hard. That was great effort." Or, "Wow, look at how you blended those colors. Tell me about how you decided to do that." It's about the how, not just the what or the who. It teaches them that their abilities aren't fixed. They can grow them with effort and trying new things.
And that feeds right back into that positive inner voice we talked about at the start. If they hear praise for trying, their inner voice might say, "Okay, this is tough, but I can keep trying," instead of, "Ugh, I'm just not good at this."
Exactly.
Does the book suggest daily habits or routine, ways to weave this in when life is just chaotic and busy?
It does. It's not just about the big moments like mistakes or achievements. Parenting Power really emphasizes the impact of what it calls everyday affirmations. These are just small, consistent acknowledgments, not tied to performance at all.
Like what? Give me an example.
Simple things, really, like, "I really appreciate you helping out with that," or just, "I love spending time with you." So genuinely, even casually, it builds that sense of belonging, of being valued just for who they are.
Unconditional worth.
The book stresses that these aren't grand gestures. Their power is in the consistency, the authenticity. It creates this steady background hum of positive regard that really shores up their self-esteem.
So, what does this all mean? I think the central takeaway here from this deep dive is just how incredibly powerful our words are. They really do shape a child's core identity, their future. And it shows that even, small conscious shifts, avoiding those identity statements, using process praise, throwing in those everyday affirmations, it all makes a real measurable difference. Builds resilience, self belief, that secure connection. And it's not about being perfect, right? Nobody gets it right all the time. It's the underlying intention that matters most.
Absolutely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, parenting power poses this really quite profound question for reflection. It asks us to think, if my child repeated my words back to themselves, would it build them up or break them down? That really hits home, doesn't it? It's about the legacy we're creating with our everyday language. We're literally building the scaffolding of their future inner world.
Wow. Yeah. And that's where you, listening, come in. You have that agency, this deep dive, drawing on parenting power. Hopefully gives you a shortcut to understanding some really practical ways to nurture that resilience, that strong bond, just through how you communicate. You really can influence that foundational inner voice.
Which leads to a final thought, something maybe to chew on. How might that specific inner voice, shaped by your unique pattern of words, whether you tend towards affirming effort or maybe labeling identity or fostering inquiry, how might that specific voice continue to influence their choices, their relationships, their view of themselves long, long after childhood, throughout their whole adult life? It's a ripple effect, isn't it? Something worth considering.